Hello there everyone, welcome back to Press for Truth TV. Today is Thursday, February the 9th, 2012, and today I just briefly wanted to touch a little bit on Csis, the Canadian Security and Intelligence Service, which is basically like our version of the CIA down in the States. And Csis has been in the news lately with allegations that they are involved in torturing citizens in order to extract information on terrorism. And I find it just ironic that this report would come out yesterday, the very same day that I released a video on the MKUltra experiments, which were torture, that the CIA was involved in here in Canada, in Montreal. And so now, yesterday, the same day that my video came out, a report has come out from the CTV suggesting that Csis has been involved with these torture techniques to extract information. I'll just show you briefly here. A video came out yesterday from CTV.
It's about information gained through torture. What we learned today is that the government has quietly reversed the very public stance it once took against that kind of intelligence gathering. CTV's Ottawa Bureau Chief Robert Fife has the details.
The Americans engage in waterboarding to extract information from terror suspects. Other allies in Afghanistan and the Middle East use harsher torture methods. Some of that information is shared with the Canadian Security Intelligence Service. In 2009, this senior Csis agent caused a political controversy.
Do we use information that comes from torture? And the answer is, we only do so if lives are at stake.
The spy service, he said, would use torture-tainted intelligence if it would prevent a major terrorist attack.
I meant what I said.
At the time, the government refuted O'Brien's statement.
If there's any evidence that it's come by way of torture, they do not rely upon it.
But it turns out the government issued a new directive in 2010 allowing Csis to use torture-obtained information if lives are at risk.
Why is this government getting Canada into the torture business?
Information obtained by torture is always discounted, but the problem is, can one safely ignore it if Canadian lives and property are at stake?
Okay, so the Canadian government has been involved in torture. They will use information that has been gathered through, using torturing techniques, which seems obvious to me. It should not be good, sound intelligence and good information. I mean, when you're torturing somebody, they'll confess to anything. They'll tell you they did anything if it'll make the pain stop. You may remember this guy, for instance. Let me just pull this up. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. This guy was captured in 2003 and was held up in Guantanamo Bay, one of the most famous torture facilities there are out there, and he confessed to the 9/11 attacks. He said he was the main mastermind under bin Laden. Now this guy spent a lot of time in Guantanamo Bay in Cuba, and this to me looks like a man who's had just about enough and is probably, after those many years of torture, was willing to confess to just about anything. So these methods aren't, they don't work to get the truth out of people. Now, something else that I found very interesting while looking into all this, and on the Csis website, right here, this is Canadian Security and Intelligence Service, their very own website, and under the section where they talk about terrorism, they define what a terrorist is, and down here, something I found extremely interesting, Csis has a little section here on domestic terrorism, and it explains what a domestic terrorist is. And as you'll see here, it includes groups such as the environment, anti-abortion, animal rights, anti-globalization groups. So the Canadian Security and Intelligence Service feels that groups who are involved with anti-globalization are considered domestic terrorists. That means me. Press for Truth is very anti-globalization. So in the eyes of the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, my group is considered as a domestic terrorist organization because of our beliefs. And now we know that Csis agents have been using torture to extract information from people who they believe are involved in terrorism. So obviously this isn't good. This isn't good. This isn't good for me. This isn't good for you. So yeah, this just came to my attention last night. I saw the video, and I thought it'd be a good one to point out today to you guys, just so you're aware that this is actually going on. And other than that, that's it for today. Tomorrow we're going to be talking, I'll have a guest on to talk about everything that's been going on in London, Ontario, with Caterpillar wanting to cut wages by up to 50% and shutting down entire plants there. And it's something I've been watching, and I want to have somebody on tomorrow to talk about it, because when these sorts of things happen in small towns, it often ends up setting precedents and will start happening elsewhere in other towns. So, so we're going to want to keep a close eye on this one. So you can tune in tomorrow for that. And other than that, that's it for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Take care.